is like the government schemes and funds. So government schemes and funds are actually mandated or distributed by different ministries of the Indian government. So there are Ministry of Textiles, Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Ministry of Education, and so on and so forth. Different ministries and different institutes, what they do is like they have different schemes. So depending upon the scheme, they will actually focus on their particular sector and then try to support startups in their particular sector that they are focusing on. So what are all the different kinds of funding and support or different stages, different types that there are? So the first stage is like there are ministries who support the startups in initial stages through R&D grants, and there are also there is also Startup India Seed Fund, which is from the Ministry of Commerce, which is actually which supports early stage startups when you are in the ideation stage, when you are creating a prototype and trying to build a product. In that stage, that you have that support, and then comes the growth stage. Once you have a product, then you need to develop it and scale it. So those kind of grants are also available. And then there are also sector specific grants, specific to biotech, specific to deep tech, and so on and so forth. So these are the various kind of funding and support that we get from the government. So how do you actually focus on the government fundings and schemes? So there are almost 112 plus government schemes and grants which are there in the Indian government. But the actual challenge that the Indian government is facing is that they are actually not able to market or clearly tell what are all the government schemes available to the startups and then make the startups apply. So they are taking the help of incubators to do it. So you can also directly apply. But this is the actual reason that the government is actually involving the incubators to do it. So what we have in YNOS is like we have captured all the government schemes which are available in the market. So typically there are around 115 government schemes, and we have actually captured in 5 different categories. The scheme background, what kind of scheme, is it a state level scheme, a central government scheme, and so on. What are all the focus areas of the scheme, the startups they support, the founders they support, and then the geographical region also you can see. And there are also one thing to highlight is there are women-centric government schemes and grants which you can actually determine by applying this filter in specific. When it comes to investment pattern also, it is also here, like what kind of investments they make, like how many investments or how active that government scheme or grant is. So and the challenge here is like if you go and try to find government schemes and grants directly on the government portals, it is actually completely not clear, and it's each government scheme will be like enlisted in different formats. But here what we have done for you is like we have built it into a uniform structure, and we have tried to make the life easier for you and save your time. So that is what we have done here. So we will look at Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. So yes. So when it comes to Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, as you can see, it is launched by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Here you have the contact information as well, the number of startups supported, the average round size in a typical grant, what they give, that is also there. So this actually gives credibility, because whatever the grants and funds which are active, if you apply to it, the chances of you getting that grant is actually higher. So that's the kind of research you can do to be more successful here. So yes, as similar to what we saw in the incubator section, we have the public links through which you can actually get in touch with them, the prominent supported areas, the startup supported, and then yes, like what are all the focus areas of the supported startups, investors active, the VCs and angel investors, and also other institutions which are actually supported by Startup India Seed Funds, that is the incubators. That also is actually available here. So if you, so that you can actually see it directly here, and then you can directly go up to the incubator section and directly start applying. So here also you can actually download the PDF and have a detailed information. The level of detail is that like whatever startups are there and the amount of round size that they have raised is also visible here, and what kind of startup supported here is also we have it in detail. So this covers the government schemes.